Mario Cristobal has returned to Miami to restore the U to its former glory. But can he do it in year one? And will the fans and the administration give him the time to do it? So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to predict Miami's schedule and record for this upcoming college football season. And as always, guys, there is a lot of hype surrounding the Hurricanes heading in to 2022. Every year, it's the U is back, Miami is back. But something feels different about this time. This year, it might actually be true, or at least starting to become true. Miami, yes, only went 7-5 last year, but they finished strong, winning 5 of their last 6 games. And they did a lot of it behind the arm of Tyler Van Dyke. You look at the offense, the numbers, guys, provided to you by College Football Encyclopedia. The offense is loaded this year. 19th in the country last year, and now returns Tyler Van Dyke, who in the last 8 games threw for over 2,900 yards, 25 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. Those numbers are absolutely insane. He's an accurate passer, has got a huge arm, and he's really going to help this Miami team that returned 73% of the production from last year, which is good for 28th in the nation. The biggest area that Miami has to fix up is their defense, one that ranked just 75th nationally last year. Kevin Steele, a very good and respected defensive coordinator across the country, is in with Mario Cristobal. And I think he's going to fix this defense. I think he's going to fix it relatively quickly. They've added a lot of more depth up front, should fix up that defensive line. The biggest area of concern is the secondary. That's the biggest area they've got to fix up. A secondary that was 102nd versus the pass last year. So you've got a great quarterback that can torch other secondaries. Miami has to make sure they don't get torched themselves. We take a look at the schedule, guys. We think they start off 2-0. Those first 2 games should be relatively easy for Miami. Should go through any growing pains they have with the new staff and some new players. And that's going to set up the big-time showdown. Should be a top 15 showdown against Texas A&M in College Station in Week 3. College Station is tough, guys. One of the most difficult places to play in the country. Just ask, Alabama from last year. The 12th man is legit. A&M brings in Max Johnson, the LSU transfer quarterback. And they have a pretty solid defense, especially that defensive line. I do believe that A&M's defensive line is able to pressure Tyler Van Dyke just enough. Miami, over the last few years, has had offensive line issues. Have they improved? Absolutely. But I still think that A&M has enough push up front to pressure Van Dyke, to bottle up the Miami run game, and do just enough to get this game won in College Station. A&M will defend their home turf. Jimbo Fisher needs a quality win like this before getting into the bulk of SEC play. And a relatively young Miami team, I think, struggles a little bit in one of the more hostile environments in the nation. So Miami drops their third game. They're 2-1. They beat Middle Tennessee. They're 3-1. And then they head into the ACC play after their bye week. So 3-1, not a bad start. Still a top 25 team. And I will say also the A&M game, we expect it to be close. It'll come down to the wire. They get into ACC play, guys. It's a pretty favorable slate. Open it up with North Carolina. They lost to the Tar Heels 45-42 last year, a battle between 2 teams that were just wildly inconsistent in 2021. But now they're at home, right? They lost in Chapel Hill last year. Now the Tar Heels have to come to Miami. And I really believe Miami will test and torch that North Carolina secondary that was so bad last year. They should improve, but not enough to stop Tyler Van Dyke in this passing attack. So at home, we believe that Miami gets the win over the Tar Heels, a little bit of a revenge over the Tar Heels after last year's narrow loss. We believe they're going to beat Virginia Tech as well. They beat the Hokies by 12 last year, 38-26, and the Hokies just don't have an offense. So for Miami this year, you better have an offense because the Hurricanes do, and they're going to put some points on you. And if you can't match them step for step, you will struggle. Or if you can't do that, if you don't have a defense that can stop them, you're going to struggle. Virginia Tech's got a defense, but it's nowhere near the ACC elite. They have no offense whatsoever. Miami, I believe, even though it's in Blacksburg, will win this game. I think they win it by at least 10 points. They get the game against Duke. Win. It's over. 47-10 last year was the final score. Duke had the worst defense in the nation last year. Don't have to worry too much about that. So after that loss to A&M, guys, you look at this. They have won 4 straight games. 4 straight games. Miami is already going bowling under Mario Cristobal. They are 6-1 heading into the road game against Virginia. Virginia, though, is going to prove to be an interesting test. A very interesting test. Because you look at Virginia, guys. Last year, Miami fell to Virginia at home, 30-28. And we talk about that really bad Miami secondary, one that was 102nd versus the pass last year. Well, the Cavaliers, guys, they had the 2nd rated passing attack in the nation last year. Brennan Armstrong alone was accounting for over 400 yards per game. Well, he is back with a great new head coach in Tony Elliott, who was the offensive coordinator at Clemson. The Cavaliers have one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver core in the ACC this year. The game is now at Virginia. You see where I'm going with this. We're going to predict a Miami loss here. And I'm sure all the Miami faithful will be livid with this pick here. But again, if Virginia can come into Miami last year and win, why can't they win it now at home? It will be a high-scoring game because the Cavaliers don't have much of a defense either. But ultimately, right now, I believe Brennan Armstrong can exploit this secondary, and I believe the home field advantage gives the Cavaliers that slight extra edge over the Hurricanes, and they're going to win this game, and a close one, at home. So Miami takes their second loss of the year, but only their first conference loss of the year, and that is going to be key. They come back home to take on Florida State. They've lost to the Seminoles last year, 31-28, the first time Miami lost to the Seminoles since 2017. Both teams are improving. Mike Norvell's building something, and we already see Mario Cristobal is. This rivalry is going to start getting heated. It's going to start meaning something again. Miami's going to get the revenge over Florida State, though. I feel very confident in that. While the Seminoles are improving, the secondary still has a few questions. Tyler Van Dyke can exploit those, I imagine. And Jordan Travis, I believe, is getting better, but does not own the edge over Tyler Van Dyke. From an offensive standpoint, I like Miami. Defensively, roughly about the same. Might give the edge to Florida State. Home field goes to the Hurricanes, though. We're going to give them the win over the Seminoles here. We're certainly going to give them the win over Georgia Tech. Somehow, Georgia Tech always saves their best efforts for Miami. The Hurricanes only won by 3 last year, but the Yellow Jackets and Duke are going to be the 2 worst teams in the conference, and Miami should not have an issue with either. If they do, they've got bigger issues. They beat Georgia Tech and then go on the road to Clemson as a 2-loss team and only 1 loss in conference play, guys. So while they're not necessarily in the hunt for the playoff at this point, they could ruin Clemson's hopes. And this game could be huge in whether or not Miami gets to the ACC championship or not, depending on how their other competitors are doing in the Coastal. Clemson, guys, they're good. There's no other way to put it. Everybody wants to write them off after one down year where they only won 10 games. Clemson's legit, and their defense will be one of the best in the country. Everybody wants to point fingers at the offense and say how bad they were. They're going to be better this year. 100%. And while I don't think the quarterback, whether it's DJ Uiagalelei or Cade Klubnik, I don't think they're going to be able to exploit this Miami secondary. I think the defense is going to wreak havoc on this Miami offense to the point where a few turnovers, a few favorable field positions, things like that are going to be able to get Clemson in the end zone. Behind home field advantage on top of that, the Tigers, I believe, will beat Miami. The Hurricanes visited Death Valley just a few years ago. It was a highly touted top 10 matchup, and Clemson ran away with it. I'm not saying they're going to run away with it this year, but they will win by at least, I believe, 10 points. So Miami has handed their third loss. They're 8-3. They wrap up the year at home against Pittsburgh, and we're going to give them another win here. Because here's the thing, while Pittsburgh is good, they're reigning ACC champs. Miami beat the Panthers in Pittsburgh 38-34 last year. And very similar to the logic we were using with that Virginia game. If Miami can beat Pittsburgh last year at home against arguably a better Pittsburgh team last year than they're going to have this year, why can't Miami win it now at their house? Why can't they win it in Miami? I definitely believe they can. I definitely believe that Tyler Van Dyke is going to put up the numbers. And I definitely believe at this point in the year, the Miami defense is getting better and better, and they shut down Keaton Slovis. They were able to get enough push against that Pittsburgh offensive line, and they get their revenge over Pittsburgh from a couple of years ago, I should say. A couple of years ago where Pittsburgh ruined Miami's playoff hopes at the time. They're going to get the win here, right? And finish the year at 9-3. 9-3 for Mario Cristobal. Maybe not going to get to a New Year's Six bowl game. It might be in the ACC championship game. They are going to have a shot at a 10-win season. So again, Miami fans, I know this isn't exactly what you want. You want 10, 11, maybe 12 wins consistently. Mario Cristobal has laid a pretty solid foundation for you to get there. The Hurricanes are legit, guys. The U is back. I think they're going to be back in year 1. And once they're back with Mario Cristobal, they're going to be here to stay. So the Hurricanes 9-3, whether or not they get to the ACC title game, well, we'll just have to find out tomorrow. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below too, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to sign up for those today. Make sure to join our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.